Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss movies and horror. And today I have a long video for you. I have a snoozy because we're here to talk about some of the movies that are coming out in 2023.
It's coffee time.
So it has taken me a little bit to compile a list. I have 51 horror movies that are coming out in 2023. I'm gonna give you the release dates that I have at the moment. Things might change, and I also have a bunch that are estimated, like to be determined and things like that, so things might change around, but I just wanted to give you guys an overview of what is coming in 2023. Let's start with January, and of course a couple of these are already out. I wanted to get this video up faster, but I was not able to. But anyways, I'm gonna tell you about them in case you didn't know. Let's start with Circle Line, which is a Singaporean action horror movie. This one has been said to be the new Singapore's modern take on a creature feature. The story follows a group of commuters that are on the subway when the train derails and they end up in an abandoned tunnel. On top of that, they are stalked by a monster, so they have to fight to survive. And you know, tunnels and creatures tend to work really well, so I definitely want to give this one a chance. Moving on to The Pale Blue Eye. This is a Netflix release that I have been really excited about, so I will review it really soon in my channel as well. It has a fantastic cast. It is a period piece and it is also based on Edgar Allan Poe, so what more can I say? A veteran detective is investigating some grisly murders and he receives the help of a young cadet that will turn out later to be the young Edgar Allan Poe. And now let's go to a slasher called Candyland, which is a really interesting and cool name. We follow a seemingly naive young woman that gets cast out of her kind of like a cult group that she had been living with. So after she leaves that religious cult, she ends up kind of immersing herself in the underground world of tracks sex shop workers. Honestly, it sounds like it's gonna be bonkers and a lot of fun, so I'm excited to see this one as well. And let's go to some indie sci-fi horror. We have Landlocked. So Mason returns to his childhood home that it's about to be demolished when he finds a VHS camera that is able to transport him like to see back to the past, and that provokes a lot of nostalgia in Mason to the point where it creates a deadly obsession. So this is one that I'm also really excited to watch. And a lot of these movies have like really short synopsises. Some of them we don't even know the plot, so there's still a lot that we need to learn and discover about these movies. The next one, let's see if I pronounce it correctly, is Skinamarink, or hopefully that was correct. And this one went actually a little bit viral. I remember seeing already this name at the end of 2022, and apparently we're finally getting a release in January. It follows two kids that wake up and find that their father is gone, so they decide to have a slumber party and also watch some old tapes to kind of, you know, feed that nostalgia and that feeling that they have of missing their dad. But they soon realize that something else is actually watching them. This is a found footage horror that includes the kids waking up, finding that their dad is missing. They throw this party and they kind of are hoping that grown-ups are gonna come and rescue them, but then they realize that actually no, and you might also be in danger. Next we have Sick, and this one is coming out, I believe, exclusively on Peacock, so for you guys out there that have the service. Due to the pandemic, Parker and her best friend decide to spend some time at the family lake house where they are going to be just alone, or so they thought. Moving on to one that I'm really excited about, and this one's called There's Something Wrong with the Children. Margaret and Ben decide to go on a road trip with two of their best friends and their kids. But then the kids go kind of missing overnight in the woods and they come out again unscathed. But Ben starts to notice that there is something wrong with the kids. The next one is something that I normally don't watch, which is anime, but this time is horror and I'm really excited about it, and it's also coming out on Netflix. Junji Ito Maniac, Tales of the Macabre. So if you know who Junji Ito is, you probably know that he writes graphic novels that are quite disturbing, to say the least. So this series features 20 of his stories, and I'm really excited because As I've said, his stories tend to be really disturbing, gory, and horrific, and that is what I want. Story About the Demon by Emily Huggins is her 6th film, and her first movie she did when she was only 12. This movie is a horror comedy about a guy that is really sad after a breakup, and he ends up moving into a new place that is actually haunted. The next movie is one of my most anticipated films of 2023, and that is Infinity Pool. I am really excited. This is supposed to be a follow-up to Possessor, a movie that I really enjoyed. It was really weird and messed up, but I've really enjoyed it. And so I'm expecting the same from this one, and I'm just on board with the story, with the cast. The trailer looks fire, so I'm just ready for it. It follows a couple that are young, they're rich, they're on vacation, and all is fun and games in this island until things start to go south. The couple decides to venture a little bit outside of the grounds of these, resorts, and that is when things are not gonna go really well for them, especially after an accident happens and decisions need to be made. Next we have Fear, a psychological horror in which a group of friends are on a vacation, but they're going to have to face their fears one by one, and that is all we know about this movie. Like I said, some of these synopses are going to be quite short because there is not too much yet that we know about all of these films. Next we have Unwelcome, and this is about a couple that is looking for a more quiet life, and they decide to move to rural Ireland to kind of look for that peace. But there's something in the woods. These creatures that live in the woods actually will hear your plea if you're asking for help, and they will come and help you, but everything comes with a price. Ennis Men has a to be determined release date in United States, but in the UK it's coming out on the 13th of January, so I kind of wanted to include it here as well. This is a psychological horror film that was shot in 16mm film. We're in 1973 in an uninhabited part of the British coast, and a wildlife volunteer kind of descends a little bit into madness. It's one of those movies that is probably gonna have you questioning the sanity of our main character, maybe yours. But it sounds really interesting, and the images I've seen look great, so this is one that I'm really curious about. And now let's talk about another one of my most anticipated releases for 2023, and I am both excited and scared about this one, and that is Knock at the Cabin. So this is a movie that I have been expecting because it is based on a book by Paul Tremblay called The Cabin at the End of the World. And I really enjoyed that book. The ending is a little bit controversial. Not everybody loved it. But I was really excited when I saw it was going to be turned into a movie. But they did say they changed the ending that the book had and went for something different in the movie, which I kind of understand their logic. But that is why also I'm a little bit scared to see if I'm gonna love this one as much as I expect. It's also a movie by M. Night Shyamalan, which, to be honest, for me it's a hit or a miss with his movies. Sometimes I really enjoy them, sometimes I just don't. But I'm excited because it has an R rating, and Batista and Rupert Grint are part of the cast, and I love them, so I'm just hoping all in all it's gonna be good. The story follows two married guys that are going to a cabin to spend some time with their daughter, and suddenly they receive the visit of some strangers that come knocking at their door, claiming that they are the chosen ones to save the apocalypse, like the world from the apocalypse. So that is what it's about, and like I said, I'm really excited slash scared. Then we have Westera, the Bone Woman, and I'm really excited about this one because this is a Mexican horror film. It follows a woman that is expecting her first child when she is cursed by some supernatural entity. I've heard this movie is also related to witches, and I'm really excited to see if they're going to integrate some of the folklore of the Mexican culture into the film, and I'm really excited to learn more about this. So this is another one that I definitely need to, watch as soon as it comes out. The next one, it might be just a lot of fun, but I will try to watch it if I can, and that is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I know they had to change things from, the original Winnie the Pooh story because of, Disney and stuff and not being sued. but this one just looks like it's gonna be silly and fun, but we might be wrong. We might go into it thinking, oh, it's just gonna be all right, and then we might just love it. You never know. It follows Winnie the Pooh and Piglet as they terrorize Christopher Robin and a group of girls in a house. Yeah, in a remote house. That's it. That's the pitch. And from one movie that sounds fun to another one, because we have Cocaine Bear. And the best part, it's based on real events. That's just makes it better, you know, that sells it to you, doesn't it? These are true events that happened in Kentucky in 1985. Don't know exactly what happened there. Honestly, I was not familiar with the story, but it might be a lot of fun. Basically, a 500-pound black bear consumes a decent amount of cocaine, probably he found it somewhere, and starts a rampage against everybody that he finds, criminals, police, people that are camping there. He doesn't care. I don't know honestly what to expect. I don't know if it's gonna be kind of the same type of movie as the grizzly bear movies, but we'll have to wait and see. The next one doesn't have an estimated release date yet, but it is supposed to come out in February and is another found footage movie called The Outwaters. There's not much that we know. We just know that it follows 4 people that are camping at a desert and they're not prepared for what they have to encounter. So it's probably gonna be one of those survival movies in complete isolation. We have 4 travelers alone in the desert. I don't know exactly what to expect, but it looks quite promising. This one is landing exclusively on Screambox, so I will have to see where I can find these, because over here we don't have this type of services, but I'll try my best because I'm really excited about this one. Next we have Unseen by Yoko Okumura, and this is her debut film. Sam receives a call from Emily that is currently running away from her husband in the middle of the woods, and also Emily is blind. So that means that Sam is going to have to help her and be basically her eyes and try to save her. They use a video call to do this, which I think it's quite smart to use technology to do this. There was a movie that I watched last year, I believe, in Netflix. If I remember the name, I'll put the poster for you guys here. I remember I talked about it, so I will take a look, because it kind of involved a blind woman in the same kind of situation of having to call someone when she was in danger, so kind of the other person could be her eyes. So it has a similar premise, and I think it's a really interesting topic to be explored in horror, so I'm really excited about this one. And following up, we have probably another of the most anticipated films of 2023, and that is Scream 6. I know a lot of people are excited about it. I'm excited about it. I did not hate Scream 5. I actually thought it was quite nice, so I am excited for this one. However, it is the first Scream in the franchise that is not gonna have Sidney Prescott, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that, to be honest, because I feel like having those characters was kind of like a comfort zone for me, and now 2 of them are gonna be missing, if you know what I mean. So I'm only gonna have 1 left. But Kiwi Reed is returning, so I'm getting something back. I guess it might be a hit or a miss at this point. I am really interested. The survivors of Scream 5 decide to leave Woodsboro, which is also a risk, and Ghostface is going to still hunt them in New York City. I don't know what's gonna happen. I understand they want to make changes to a franchise and expanding and modernizing and all of that, but how far can we push it and have it a movie that still feels like Scream? We will have to see. Sam Raimi joins forces with A Quiet Place writers and is going to bring us a really interesting movie, more of a sci-fi action, called 65. A pilot that has a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet ends up realizing that he's actually 65 million of years ago on Earth when we had dinosaurs. So he's basically now on Earth fighting dinosaurs with big guns. That's the pitch. And you know, it sounds fun. I'm excited to see Adam Driver in this. And this is one that I'm excited about as well for 2023. And let's go to something completely different. It is a black comedy called Holy Shit. It follows an architect that is locked in a portable toilet inside of a construction site that it's about to be demolished. that's what's happening. I think this is also going to be exclusive to Screambox, so if you're interested, you know where to go. Next we have Family Dinner, which is supposed to be a new Easter classic. We have an overweight teenager that goes to their family meeting hoping to find advice from her aunt and help her lose weight. But when she gets there, she realizes there is something really wrong with the family. Another one that I would like to talk about, and it's not exactly a movie, it's a documentary, but I'm really pumped for this one, is Living with Chucky, that is going to go obviously over the story of Child's Play. You guys know it's one of my, well, I wouldn't say maybe favorite franchises, but definitely Child's Play 2 are some of my favorite classics that I tend to revisit, and I've always loved Chucky. So this is a documentary that celebrates the franchise, and it's going to be exclusive to Screambox. So again, I'll have to see how to get my hands on this one. And finally, you guys, in 2023, we are gonna be blessed with a new Ari Aster movie called Beau is Afraid. And it's an A24 film. I'm really excited about it. It has Joaquin Phoenix in it. I love that guy. So I'm just like super pumped for this, and I'm hoping it's not going to be a disappointment after loving his other two movies. So I think this is a different kind of tone, but I'm still excited. This is the story, the journey of a man that had an overbearing mother and he never knew his father, and now he is kind of on his journey back home after his mom dies, and on the way home he's gonna encounter, I believe, some supernatural things. That's all I know, but being an Ari Aster, you don't really know what's gonna hit you. And I'm just really pumped. I'm really excited, and this is one that as soon as it comes out here, I'm gonna be there. The next one is another one that I'm super excited about, and that is Renfield, because Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Need I say more? I know this is a comedy, which is really risky. Nowadays, comedies, you know, they're not so hot, but I have really high hopes for this one. So Renfield, as we know, is kind of Dracula's servant, but in this movie he gets tired of being his servant. And I'm just really excited to see the dynamic here between the two characters, and obviously to see Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Next we have The Black Demon, and this is based on a Mexican legend. So we follow an oil man and his family, and they, by mistake, you know, by mistake, they awaken the Black Demon. And the Black Demon is this massive shark. So this is gonna be another creature feature. In 2023, actually, we're getting a lot of new installments in franchises, and our next movie is Evil Dead Rise. So Beth decides to finally visit her sister Ellie, and they end up discovering a very mysterious book. It's going to be another battle of survival against demons, and I am so excited. The poster already came out and everything. It looks fantastic. I'm really excited to revisit the franchise. The Blackening, our next movie, is trying to kind of defy some of the horror movie tropes, and we have here a movie that is trying to basically say, if the whole cast of a horror movie is black, who will die first? 7 friends go away on a weekend trip, and while they're in this cabin trying to have a good time, there is a killer on the loose. This is going to be a comedy, and it's going to be about tropes, you know, if the characters know about certain things in horror movies, will that make them survive or not? I don't know, this one sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And another franchise that is coming back is Insidious with Part 5. Patrick Wilson comes back to the franchise. Love that guy, so I am actually really excited for this one as well. So he goes to drop his son at college, and he realizes that the demons of his past have not left him. In this summer, we're gonna get Meg to the Trench. So Jason Statham returns also in Part 2. But we don't really know much about the plot, so it's just going to be a direct sequel to Meg. So if you enjoyed the first one, then you can get excited for another of these creature feature for this summer. The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and this one I'm also really pumped about because it is based obviously on Dracula. It is based on a very specific part of the book where we talk about when Dracula went to the UK, when he was traveling by ship and what happened in the ship, and I'm so excited. Also, this movie has Javier Botet as Dracula, so I am absolutely in love with that idea. He mostly does you know, what Doug Jones does as well. He turns always himself into creatures. He was in Wreck and other horror movies, always as the creature or the horror, you know, creature. And I'm really excited to see this one. This is probably also one of my most anticipated ones, just because I love Dracula so much. Next we have Haunted Mansion, which is going to be a Disney film about the Disney attraction that you can find, but they have turned it into a film. I've never been to Disney myself, but I've heard about this attraction a lot, and I'm excited to see the movie. This one is probably just a fun watch for the whole family. Next we have an upcoming Blumhouse movie called They Listen. And there is not much that we know about this film. Only a couple of the cast members have been announced, so there is not really much for me to explain here, but it's another one that, you know, might be an interesting watch. And returning Michael Chavez as a director from the Conjuring franchise, he's bringing us The Nun 2. I'm one of the few that actually enjoyed The Nun. I didn't hate it. So to be honest, I'm kind of excited for this part because I just love Balak so much. I feel like I just love the character a lot, and that's part of why I could enjoy The Nun. I am aware it's not perfect, but I really enjoyed it. It's going to reunite, of course, Sister Irene and Valak, and it's going to be a direct sequel from The Nun. That's all that we know. And that they're going to have another battle in France in 1956. Moving on to a kind of a reboot that I am scared about, and that is The Exorcist. And scared because for me, The Exorcist, the first film, was one of the first horror movies that I have ever seen. And it's always been really special to me because of that, and I think it also stands the test of time. If you watch The Exorcist now, you're still gonna love it. It's still gonna be terrifying, and I love that movie so much. I'm really scared about this, so pray for me. Also, David Gordon Green is going to direct this, and I do not like what he did with the Halloween franchise. So I'm about to shit my pants when this movie comes out and I go to the cinema. I'm probably gonna be praying there, to be honest. And yet another franchise returning with a new installment. We have Saw 10. And I feel like I missed the last couple of Saw movies because I got bored at some point. But maybe before this movie comes out, I will do a rewatch of everything, and then I can give you guys a ranking of the 10 Saw movies and let you know, guys, which one is my favorite, which is probably gonna be the first one. Spoiler alert, because I don't think anything can come close to that. It's going to bring Tobin Bell back, and I really do like him, so we will see. And I feel like it's a good time to revisit the franchise, especially since I have not seen the first one in a long time. So I might do that and rank the whole thing. And before the year ends, we're gonna get Ghostbusters 5, so the new installment. People really seem to enjoy the new Ghostbusters movie, and actually it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool, like, family movie. Of course, you cannot beat the originals, at least not for me, but I still think that they did a good job to bring it, you know, to new audiences. And now I have a bunch of movies that don't have a release date yet. They are to be determined, but they are all rumored to still come out in 2023, so I still wanted to talk about them really briefly. We have Consecration, which is a supernatural thriller by the director that gave us Triangle, which I think is an underrated film that I really enjoyed, so I'm excited to see his new project. It is about the alleged suicide of a priest in a remote convent in Scotland, and I think when they get there to investigate, it's gonna turn into kind of like a murder mystery, so I'm really excited for this. Then we have Cuckoo, which is a movie we don't know really much about, but this is possibly going to be a slasher. It has a quite strong cast, and another one that, you know, I would be really excited if it still would come out in 2023. Next we have Dark Harvest, which is basically based on Halloween in 1963. It is based on a book by the same name, and I would not be surprised if this one comes out obviously September, October because of Halloween theme, but it still doesn't have a release date. I think it recently got the R rating, so I am even more pumped now. And also, we haven't really had a Halloween themed movie apart from the franchise that we all know about, so I'm excited to see something like this come out. Obviously, we're still expecting Maxine in 2023, which is the third movie in the Ty West trilogy. We had X, then we had Pearl, who served as a prequel, and now we have Maxine, which is a sequel following the character of Mia Goth as she goes to Hollywood to try to become an actress. So this time around we're gonna be in Los Angeles 1980, and I am just all here for it. So rumor has it James Wan is producing the new adaptation of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, and I'm excited because I do like the story of Salem's Lot. Is a vampire book, in case you don't know or are unfamiliar with all the other adaptations. But I'm excited because James Wan has a way sometimes of telling the story in a different direction, and I'm really curious to see what he's gonna do with this story. The plot follows an author that returns to his hometown just to find out that vampires have taken over. I mean, it's the perfect plot. Another one that I'm really excited about that is coming out in 2023 is Shelby Oaks, and this is the directorial debut of Chris Duckman, who is a YouTuber. You know, he has been reviewing movies for years, and I have been a follower, like a subscriber of his channel for a long time, and I really like, you know, the way he reviews films and how he talks about it, how excited he is about the industry. So I'm so excited that after doing this fundraiser to get money to fund his film, he was able to get a lot more than he expected, and he will finally be able to complete his first project. It follows a woman that is desperately trying to find her long-lost sister, and she starts to obsess about a demon that they believed in when they were kids, and now she believes that demon might be actually real. I'm really just excited to see his take on horror because he is an expert in the matter in movies and horror. He loves horror, so I'm just really excited what he has to bring us. Then we have a Netflix time cut, and this is by the director and writer that gave us Freaky. And this is going to be a young adult horror comedy, so I'm excited to see what he brings to the table because Freaky was actually a lot more fun than I anticipated. The movie has been described as Back to the Future meets Scream. That's all we know, but it sounds promising already. Then we have Sister Death, and this one will be coming to Netflix, and it's actually a prequel of Veronica that came out on Netflix a couple of years ago. It follows Narcissa, who is a young nun that joins a school for girls in her journey before we meet her in Veronica from 2017, I believe it was. Then we have a crazy movie coming to Hulu called Night Bitch. This one is based on a book, and it sounds like a crazy story. The story focuses on a stay-at-home mom that starts to believe that she's turning into a dog. Really bizarre. These ones have no official date, but I believe this one is coming out on Hulu. Then we have Cello. We also don't know much about these. It's just about a cello player that realizes that his cello might be more valuable than he thought. The cast sounds interesting, like Jeremy Irons and Tobin Bell. Like, it sounds good. So I'm excited to see where this one is gonna take us. We're also supposed to get the new installment in the kind of a reboot of the franchise from The Strangers. This is going to be the first movie on a brand new trilogy. The movie will follow a couple that are doing some, you know, road trip when they have car problems and they have to stop at an Airbnb, and that is where they're going to be terrorized by some strangers. Then we have a very interesting one called Last Night with the Devil. It is about a television broadcast in 1977 that goes really wrong, and it starts to kind of release and set loose evils in everybody's houses. This is quite a unique and interesting concept, you know, that a broadcast goes wrong and then it releases probably supernatural creatures, evil inside of people's living rooms. I don't know how they're gonna go about it, but it sounds intriguing. And last but definitely not least, we have The Boogeyman. This one is supposed to come out on Hulu, and this is an adaptation of a short horror story by Stephen King. So we get more King in 2023. It follows two sisters that are dealing with the grief of losing their mother when a supernatural entity enters their lives. Alright guys, so this was everything. 51 horror movies that are coming out in 2023. Hopefully, like I said, dates might change, things might get moved around. Some movies might be even sadly be pushed to 2024. But this is kind of like the overview of what I know now so far, what I'm expecting to watch, what I'm expecting to come out. Let me know down below which one are you most excited about, and if you know of other movies that I missed, let me know in the comments so that I make sure to add them to my list and I don't miss them. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!